This is Sound Advice. Audiologist Doug Leonard joins us in the studio. Talk about issues surrounding communication and hearing. And today we're going to be talking about kind of the first thing you do when you come in for a hearing screening is, Doug, you'll take a little family history, sit down and ask a lot of questions. Let's talk about some of those intake questions that you ask about family history and hearing loss.
Well, it's really important, John, because there are conditions that people can have that are hereditary that can lead to hearing loss. And so,
are they common?
No, I mean, the most common hearing losses are presbycusis, which is just age-related hearing loss, and, noise exposure, or, maybe medical problems with your ears, ear infections, and that type of thing. But there's a subset of patients that come in that have a family genetic condition that can cause hearing loss. Otosclerosis is one of those. That's a condition that can cause a hardening of the bones in the middle ear, those tiny little bones that kind of act as a transfer function for hearing. So we ask about family history, and it's interesting. People either over-volunteer about that. They say, "Well, yeah, my uncle used to have a lot of ear infections." Well, otitis media ear infections aren't necessarily a hereditary thing, but it's good to know, and I appreciate that. Or more likely, I had a patient recently who said, "No, my dad was 95. He heard just fine." Well, in all due respect, no 95-year-old has normal hearing.
Mm-hmm.
They may not have had a huge communication problem. Maybe they were slowing down, obviously, and maybe they spent most of their time at home. And so when you went to talk to Dad, who was 95, you could sit there knee to knee and have a conversation. That doesn't mean that your 95-year-old father didn't have a hearing loss.
Yes.
It may not have been a hearing problem. But, it's just, it's a question that's important to know because of trying to figure out how to work with that current patient, really.
Yeah, you're really just trying to get a complete picture of where people are struggling, maybe why they're struggling and things. So if people question, why do you need to know this about my family? That's why.
Yeah, I mean, and we're just trying to understand what could potentially be happening to that patient. Genetics are a son of a gun. I mean, I was adopted, so I don't have the burden of knowing that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about my biological parents and their medical issues, but in general, what are I assume my biological father probably was bald since I don't have hair, and unfortunately my son is losing his as well. He can blame genetics on both sides of our family.
Yeah.
But genetics play a role, and it's good to know that when it comes to hearing loss.
That's why you do the program called Test Your Ears at 50 Years. I mean, it's great to have that medical history to go along with that.
Yeah, again, referencing, the person who's 95, every 95-year-old has hearing loss. Doesn't mean they need to do anything about it, but, if we get on that process of getting our hearing evaluated on a routine basis, if we consider that part of our total healthcare package, really, a lot more people would be less surprised when they find out they actually do have hearing loss.
Yeah, I bet people are surprised when they come in for your first appointment that you spend more time talking with them than doing the hearing screening.
No, it's great to know. You get to know the patient, and you get to know what their problems are and what their risk factors are, and that's how we know how to work with them.
Yeah, give them a call. It's Audiological Services of Iowa. Doug, what's the number here in Carroll, and how often are you in town?
Yeah, we'd love to visit with them. The office is open Monday through Thursday. I see patients Monday and Wednesday, and the phone number is 792-5933.
Audiological Services of Iowa. Give them a call and help your communication going into 2026.